everybody, welcome back to Old Timer Noob Plays. Today I'll be picking up with turn 3 of Scenario 4, The Village Part 2. Before I get started, I want to mention something briefly in case some of you are wondering. I'm pretty sure that just about anybody who plays any kind of war game on a table has little things they do that are variations of the rules. Call it a house rule or whatever. This isn't really in the category of house rules, but I guess technically it might be. I don't know. In the advanced game, the rules say when you're determining hit locations and damage, this is what you're supposed to do. After determining the hit angle on this table here, we're supposed to roll a D100, and then we compare the 10's result to the value listed on the table. So I have a sample roll here of 92. The 9 would represent the location of the damage. So if I was looking at the front, it would be the whole front. And then the 1's value is supposed to be the location, or I'm sorry, the amount of damage when you look over here at the unit that actually fired the round. What I've been doing though, instead of rolling the D100, is I rolled 2 D10s and I rolled them one at a time because I don't want to know what the damage is before I figure everything else out. I'm not really sure that makes any difference at all in the game. I don't know how it works out as far as odds go, but I really don't see where it makes that much of a difference. So if you've been wondering, that's why you do it that way. Technically, if you wanted to be 100% accurate according to the rules, you would roll a D100 and use both these values for location and for actual damage. When we left off at the end of turn 2, all the heroes on both sides had made some progress towards Straverhavoy, the town that's the objective of this game. The Soviets did lose one tank, so their battle strength is down to 16, I believe. Let me check. Yes, they started with 17, so now they only have 16, and the Germans still have all 18 units available. The Soviets did manage to take the heights here before the Germans did, but now they're in a very precarious position because these Panzer V's can make short work of them, so if the Germans end up firing first on this turn, I foresee bad things happening to these guys up here. The Soviets also made a dash across open ground to try to gain the heights over here. Depending who moves first is going to determine who has control of the heights, but unless somebody moves into the rough, it's going to be tough going up here since it's all open terrain. I do have a set of tanks and all my infantry on the road, so when they start moving again, they can use the road rate. And the Germans have also made good progress with their infantry units getting up to this path, so they're not too far from the town. So again, depending on who has the initiative, that's going to determine which set of infantry or armor makes it into Straverhavoy first. We'll see how it plays out. So we'll start as always with the spotting phase. And we'll start up here in the left hand corner. We have the infantry in their half tracks. Now all these vehicles, and the infantry are loaded in vehicles, so it's going to be the vehicles that are spotted, not the infantry. But it'll be the infantry in the vehicles doing the spotting, going the other direction. All right, so all the vehicles have either moved or fired, so they're all going to be visible at a distance of greater than 40 hexes. The minimum is 20, so everybody can be seen if they're in the open and there are no intervening obstacles. So clearly these guys can be seen, and we know that already because the Panthers can see them here. So since the infantry and the trucks can see the units on the hill, then vice versa. The units on the hill can see the units in the truck, or they can see the truck. These Germans behind the woods, oops, they can't see anybody. There's a blind hex that they're in from the hill here. They can't be seen, so we can remove their spot fire or their spot move counter. These guys are visible from here and from here. These tanks are visible from here and from here also. And also, I want to talk about this real quick because I always had a lot of questions about line of sight, and I'm sure a lot of other people do too. So whenever I get the opportunity, I want to talk through some line of sight issues. I know we had a similar issue at the very beginning of the game when I placed the initial spot encounters, but it won't hurt to go over it again. Right, so we have this unit here on the level 2 hill, and there's a level 1 hill intervening between him and the potential target. So the intervening terrain is lower by 1 height. So once again, we count the number of hexes between the higher unit and that obstacle terrain, which is 1, 2, 3, divided by 2 and round down. That results in a 1. That means there'd be a 1 hex blind spot, which would be this one here. And then this target can be seen. And vice versa. Now, if this was all hill terrain, all level 1 hill, this wouldn't be an issue. Obviously, these hexes would all be the same level. He would be seen, and so would anybody here. But since that's lower than the intervening obstacle, that would be a blind hex. Alright, so everybody here can be seen. He can be seen. These guys block there, cannot be seen. So we can remove their spot move counter. And of course we know both of these can be seen. So let me talk about the line of sight between these two sets of units. We have a Soviet tank or tanks on a level 2 hill, and we have some German tanks on ground level, and you see that the line of sight passes through the level 1 hill hex side, so that means it's blocked. So we're going to have some blind hexes. How do we calculate that? Same as before. We have a 1 level difference between where the Soviets are and the blocking terrain, so we count the number of hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Divide that by 2 and round down, that's 3. There would be 3 blind hexes beyond here, so 1, 2, 3, and then anybody beyond that would be visible. So right now, these two sets of units are blocked to each other. No line of sight. Alright, so I think that takes care of everybody. What's next? The command phase. We'll roll. The units with the lower roll will place their commands first. For the Germans, 5. For the Soviets, a 2. So the Soviets will place their commands first. And I think I'm going to start right here. These 2 units on the hill are going to fire at these 2 Panthers. And this unit is going to fire at him. Let me go back again because I got ahead of myself once more. We'll talk about available commands. So we know the Germans have 18 units and the Soviets have 16 units. So the Soviets with their 16 units will get 9 commands. And the Germans are going to get 6 plus 11. So it's 11 and 6. 11 and 9, I mean. Alright, so we have 2 so far. These guys are going to move. I think these guys are going to move. Since the units up here are going to be firing at Panthers, I think I'm going to have these guys move. They're on the road, so they can move at the road movement rate. but they have to be careful not to exceed their command span distance, which is 10. Actually, I think I'm going to give these tanks here an Overwatch command. Now, I want to try something that I haven't done before. I told you before I haven't had too much experience working with the infantry units, or what experience I've had. I don't think I did it right, but I'm going to try to get it right this time. So let me check something. I wanted to see if I could fire my mortars here at the Panzer Vs. So here's what I found. Squads, half squads, and sections may utilize direct GP fire while transported. Any attached anti-tank rifles may also fire. The passenger may fire or observe for indirect fire if their transporting vehicle has any command except move. Alright, so the truck they're in can't move if they're going to fire. That's the first thing. A passenger makes its own spotting attempt. It may fire at the same target if the vehicle is also firing, or at any other spotted target. Since passenger units are not spotted separately from their transporting vehicle, the transporting vehicle is marked with the appropriate spot fire counter, depending on the nature of the transported combat, i.e. small arms or not. Alright, well, let me take a look at the mortar section here. Okay, so the mortar section can only fire GP fire. They can do direct fire or indirect fire. I think the rules say that if they have the target in sight, they have to use direct fire. And then to use indirect fire, they have to have a spotter. It looks like they also have ammo limits for their GP fire, so we'll have to roll for that first to see if they can fire. Let me move this over a little bit so we can see everybody. Okay. So I'm going to give them a fire command, and that's just going to be for this section here, not for the remaining infantry squads. They're going to get a different command. Alright, so how many commands is that so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can give my remaining trucks a move command. Let me just put this here for now. Let me see how I can get this down here. Alright, where'd my fire command go? I don't see it. Let me put another fire command on here. Alright. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of my 9 commands. And now the Germans. Move command for them. And they get 11 commands. Move for them. Move for them. I think I'll do short halt on this Stug. Fire for him. And the fire for him. And I think that's everybody. Alright, moment of truth. Now we need to see who gets the initiative. I'll roll for the Germans first. 48. And for the Soviets, 67. It looks like they lucked out. The Soviets will be the first player. Alright, there's no air phase. Now comes the combat phase. There's no indirect fire, so we go straight to the direct fire combat with the Soviets firing first. And I think I'll start with this guy right here. He is a T-34. I'm going to try using these cards and see what happens. And he's firing at a group of Panzer 4Hs. There are 3 of them, and there's only 1 of him, so he's going to shoot at the guy on the top. Why does that command... Oh, because I didn't put snap to hex, that's why. Okay. Okay. So the first thing we do is check the range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would put him in the short range category. We start in here. Let's see if we have any modifiers. Those are Panzer 4Hs. They have a size of 0. They're not moving. They're not in cover. I don't have short halt. I'm not damaged or hesitating. No smoke. No overwatch. No ammo limit for AP fire. So it looks like it's just going to be a straight roll on the short range. 70 or less is what we're looking for. And that is a hit. Now that we have secured a hit, oops, we'll have to see what the variable penetration tells us. We currently have an AP factor of 23. 4 and 0 is 23. 4 is a -1, and a 10 is a +3. So it's a total of +2. So now we have an AP factor of 25. Now, where are we striking this tank? It looks like we're hitting him on the right side. Front side. So let's roll for the location. 3, that's the turret front. And for the turret front, level shot, it's a 19. So we do have penetration. Now for damage. 2. So they get a damage marker. The top unit does. And now that they've been damaged, we have to check and see if the crew is going to bail out. I think that's... Where is that? I think it's over here. Yeah, right here. On the bailout table. So we have AP damaged, checking for the crew. If they roll a 30 or less, they bail out. And, oh, I'm sorry, I should have rolled the D100. 63, they're safe. Right, this guy has fired. Mark him spot fire. Okay, now we'll move on to these guys here. Have a T-34 and an SU-100. So we'll have the SU-100 fire first. He's at a range of 2, which puts him at point blank range with an armor factor of 44. I think it'll be hard to beat that. Alright, so let's see if any modifiers apply. These are Panzer 5, so I think their size is large. No, wait. Panzer 5. +1, yes, +1. Alright, point blank range, target size +1, so that puts us at 99. The target is not moving, target's not in cover, we're not doing short halt, we're not suppressed, no smoke, no barrage, no overwatch. Ammo limit. Do we have an ammo limit? Yes. Alright, so here's what we need to do. To determine if a unit suffers the effects of an ammo limit, before resolving the actual AP combat, roll the D10 and compare the result to the listed ammo limit value. If the result is greater than the ammo limit value, the unit must apply the ammo limit effects. Right, so we have an ammo limit of 9. We'll roll a D10, and it's not greater, so we don't have to worry about that. If we had rolled greater, we would still resolve the shot, but then what would happen is, if we had a rate of fire greater than normal, it would reduce it to normal, but that's not the case, so then we would have to apply the -3 ammo limit hit modifier. Right, but that didn't happen, so we're okay. Alright, so we're still at 99. Got to roll 99 or less to get a hit. That is a hit. Now let's check with our variable penetration. Yes, it's down here. A 5 and a 4, and we have an AP factor of 44, so 4 gives us -1, and a 5 is 0, so we're down to a 43. And I think that's going to be a hit, I'm pretty sure. And we're hitting this tank on the front side. And it's a falling shot. Falling front side. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to check the location first. Front side. 7. That is the hull side. So over here, falling shot, hull side is a 13. That is a penetration. We'll now roll for damage. 9. That's a brew up. Alright, so this guy on top has been brewed up. The brew up smoke doesn't take effect until next turn. Now that we've achieved that brew up on this German tank, all friendly units in the same hex as the brew up become suppressed. So this guy, let's see, where's suppressed? Right here. Alright, so that's it for the SU-100. Now our T-34 that remains is going to fire at the suppressed tank. So again, he's at a range of 2. Let's find the right tank. Range of 2, that's point blank with an armor factor of 26. Do we have any modifiers? Well, again, I think he's still shooting at a Panzer 5. Yep. So target size is +1 in the point blank column here. So that's 99. The target is not moving, not in cover. Brew up smoke doesn't take effect until next turn. We have no ammo limit for the AP fire. So it's just a straight roll. 19, that is a penetration. Or that's a hit, rather. Let's check for variable penetration. We have an AP factor of 26. 8. and 6. So an 8 is a plus 2, 6 is 0, so that brings us to an AP factor of 28. This is going to be another falling shot, and we're hitting him on the front side. Front side. 8 is the hull side again. So falling shot, front side on the hull side, it's a 13, that is a penetration. We'll roll for damage. That's a 9, that is another brew up. Right, we only ever place one brew up marker in the hex. So we can get rid of that. And we can get rid of the suppression marker too. Alright, so we have 2 brewed up German tanks. Boy, that's a relief for the Soviets. And now they can be marked spot fire. It looks like I'm going to have to keep checking for these fire markers I put on here. No, I deleted that one. Yeah. Alright, now here comes the interesting combat. Well, I was going to try to fire my mortar at the Panzer V over here. They're both brewed up. But I think just for the heck of it, I'm going to go through the procedure just to show you how I think it's supposed to be done. Alright, since this would have been direct fire, we don't have to check for the called indirect fire response. It's direct fire, so we don't use that procedure. But we do have to look at our mortar card. Alright, so this is an 82 millimeter BM41, firing GP fire only. It does have an ammo limit of 8. And also the BM41 and the RM40 are small arms fire. So when we put our spotting marker, our spot fire marker, it would be spot fire for small arms. Unless the vehicle already has an existing spot fire counter. And it doesn't. It has a spot move. Alright, so here we are. It's going to be GP direct fire. So we have to figure out the range first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be short range with a GP factor of 6. We do have an ammo limit, so we have to roll a 10-sided die. If we roll greater than this number, then we'll have to see what happens. So let's roll our die. We rolled a 9. That is greater than this. So now we'll still resolve the shot, but we're going to apply the -10 modifier for ammo limit. Right, so we have a GP factor of 6. The tank that we would have been firing at is a Panther 5 that has a GP defense of 5. So here's the 6 column. Here's the 5 row. 48 and 78 are the values we're looking at. We have to roll a D100 and subtract our modifier of 10. I'm sorry, I keep moving all this stuff around. So that's a 48. So 6, 5. All right, if it's equal to this number or less, it's no effect. All right, we rolled a 58, subtract 10 for the modifier, that's a 48, which equals this, so it would be no effect. And then we would have marked this guy with a spot fire marker, small arms. Right, I think that's the right procedure. If you think that's wrong or there's another way to do it, let me know in the comments. In any event, since these guys are brewed up, he will not be considered to have fired because we can't shoot at something else. So we can mark him, just this guy, as spot fired. Now the rules say when you do the spot fire for small arms, that you just turn the spot fire counter 90 degrees. Oh, I guess here in Basel they don't have a separate spot fire. Well, they do have a separate spot fire counter, but the way you get to it is you cycle through this thing here. Let me see. Fire, small arms, there we go. So they actually have a small arms counter. All right, that's just for the mortar section, all right? The other 3 trucks have move commands, and they'll be moving shortly. All right, I think that's all the fire commands we have for the Soviets. So now it's the German turn, and they have 3 units here that are marked for fire. Since they're sharing a command, they can either all 3 fire at 1 unit, or they can actually fire at both of these guys because they're within the command span range. Let me check the rule again and see what it says about that. Okay, here's what the rule says. When 2 or more units share the same fire, short halt, move, or overwatch command, they must coordinate the fire and move actions. The targets must all be within the firing unit's command range of one another to be legitimate targets. This command range check is measured from the targets to one another. Right, these are the targets, and the command span for all the units in this scenario, I think it's over here, there we go. The command span for all the units in this scenario, since they're all seasoned, is 1 hex. So they have to be within 1 hex of each other, and they are. They also have to both be within legal limits or legal range of being fired upon from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the same range. So they are within range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire this top damaged guy at this T-34, and then the second guy is going to fire at this T-34, and the guy in the bottom is going to fire at the SU-100 on the bottom of the stack. All right, so the first thing we do is find the distance. It's a range of 5. And these are all Panzer 4Hs. So Panzer 4H, range of 5, is short range with an AP factor of 22. All right, we'll be in the short range column. Let's see if any modifiers apply. The target size is 0. The target is not moving. Nobody's in cover. The shooter is damaged. -3. Rip smoke. Watch us. I believe he has no ammo limit. So it's just the damage. -3. Short range column, he's got to roll 49 or less. And that is a hit. Now that he hit, We'll have to check and see variable penetration. What do you say he's got? 22. All right. 7 and 8 in the 22 row. 8 plus 2. 7 plus 1, so that's plus 3. That gives him a 25 AP factor. Where is he striking our tank? I believe he's hitting him in the front. 9, that's the hull front. And the hull front of the Soviet T-34 it's a level shot from the front, hull front, 18, so that is a penetration. What damage? 7. That's a knockout. Alright, so this guy's knocked out. And then this guy is marked spot fired. Alright, that takes care of one. Alright, my second Panzer IV is going to fire at the T-34 on the top of the stack over here. So there's range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Range is 5. Panzer IV, range of 5. Still short range. And looks like he'll be hitting him from the front side. Alright, in the short range column, 70. Target size is 0. Target's not moving. The shooter is not damaged this time around. No ammo limit. So we're looking for 70 or less. 95, that's a miss. How about that? So we can mark the second guy as spot fired. And now this guy is shooting at the Su-100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the range. Still short range. What size is the Su-100? I wonder. 0. Okay. So we're in the short range column. Size 0, target's not moving, none of these apply. He's not damaged, not suppressed, no smoke, no overwatch, no ammo limit. So 70 or less we're looking for. 59, that's a hit. We know we hit him on the front side here. So where's that going to be? A 3. Turret side. Should have checked for variable penetration first. With a 22. I apologize for having moved this stuff around all the time. A 4 and a 4. So we have a -1 and a -1. That brings us down to 20. So 20, where did we say it was? Front side. Turret side, right? Turret side. All right. So the turret side, it's going to be a rising shot this time. Rising front side, turret side is a 15. That is a penetration. So what damage? 2. So he's just damaged. And now we have to check and see if the crew bails out. Right, AP damage, 30 or less. They bail out. 97, they're safe. Alright, so now this guy is marked fired. And we can get rid of that. Alright, I believe that's all the firing for the Germans. They do have one, we have a short halt command here. Gotta fire him. Alright, we are using fire priority, so he's got to shoot at the closest target. And that's going to be that's 8, that's 10. So he has two choices over here. So I guess I'll do is roll a 6-sided die. Odds for the T-34, evens for the SU-100. Odds, so that's T-34. All right, at a range of 8, this is my Stug. Range of 8, that's medium range with an AP factor of 19. Medium range, so medium column, target size is 0, the target's not moving, target's not in cover. This is short halt, so it's -4. That puts us down to 30. There's no brew up smoke, no overwatch, no ammo limit. Alright, so 30 or less is what we need this to hit. And that's a miss. So we can take this and switch it to the move side. Alright, I think that is all the movement, or the fire. And I think my T-34s over here will take this opportunity to overwatch fire at the Stug. Now what I find interesting here is that if you look at the sequence of play here, it doesn't even mention overwatch fire, but on my physical copy it shows overwatch right after both players fire in direct first combat, or direct fire combat. So my physical copy, it came in the third printing. It's this game card C, revised in 2016. Let me see if I can find one that shows the overwatch step. Okay, I got this one from the GMT website. This one actually says 2015 at the bottom. Mine says 2000, well, this game card C. Here's the game card D. Here we go. Yeah, it says 2015. Mine says 2016, but they appear to be the same. So here you see that in the combat phase, you have direct fire, first player, second player, and then overwatch. And then if you look at this rule, 4.4.2, it specifically says that all first and second player direct fire is resolved before any overwatch fire is announced, which is what I'm doing now. So let's see. Overwatch fire is triggered in response to opposition fire during the combat phase, or movement during the movement phase. So during movement, you fire at targets of opportunity. In the combat phase, all the direct fire has to be resolved first before you do overwatch. So that's what that says. Alright, so over here in the stack, I've got 3 T-34s. And they're all going to fire at this guy, the Stug. So let's figure out what that range is. 13. Medium range with an AP factor of 20. Alright, let's see if any modifiers apply. Medium range. Target size, how big is the Stug? -1. Oh, it's pretty small, I guess. All right, -1, so that puts us down at 45. The target actually is not moving because he fired, so he's got a short halt command. He's moving. So that's another -2 for a total of -3. That puts us at 35. We're in Overwatch. That's -1. That puts us at 30. Do we have ammo limits? No. All right, so we're looking at 30 or less. Make sure I got them all. Target size is -1, 45. Target is moving, -2. We're in Overwatch, -1. Let me check this Overwatch adjust real quick. Okay, the rule says if you're conducting Overwatch fire at a vehicle outside your field of fire, it's a -3 modifier, and that would be the case here. So it probably wasn't even worth taking this shot. 1, 2, 3. So we're at a 10 or less is what we have to roll, and we have 3 units firing. So let's try unit number 1. You got a hit! Can you believe that? All right, let's check variable armor. Penetration. We have an AP factor of 20. With a 5 and a 9. 9 is +2. That makes it 22. And a 5 is 0. So AP factor of 20. Where are we going to hit this guy? It looks like it's going to be on the front. 0, that's a track hit. All right. So that's track damage for the Stug. He can't move anymore. All right, now we still have 2 more units. Oh, we also have to roll and see if the crew bails out. So let's check. Damage or track. Superscript 1, transport. Okay, nobody's transport. All right, 30 or less, they bail out. They're safe. All right, so we got to do that 2 more times. 10 or less. Miss, miss. So all 3 of these guys have fired. All right, that was a pretty eventful direct combat step. A direct fire combat step. Now comes movement, and of course we have the second player moves first. That would be the Germans. All right. Okay, I think we'll start with our Panzer Vs here. They have a move command. They want to get on top of this hill. Now notice this is a level 3 hill here. So it would cost me 2 movement points to get into here. And then I don't have enough points remaining to get up to here because this is another 2 elevations, and you can't increase your elevation more than 2 levels in one move. So they're not going to be able to go up to here. It costs 4 movement points to go into this hex. This is rough. Let me see. So this is rough terrain. For tracked vehicles, it's 4. So plus the extra 1 for going uphill. So I can move into this hex, and that would end my move. and then I'd be stuck over here and not able to see anything. Or I can go up here and swing around because he's not going to be able to go far either. All right, take these guys. There's no Overwatch from the Soviets, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to stop them right there. Now they've all moved. All right, my infantry units. Well, let me move my command tank up first. Everybody here has a movement factor of 5. Nope, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And I'll keep them together. There we get rid of that. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These guys are still in command range. They're going to have to leave here next turn and move over here. Unless he stays there, they can stay here and fire at this T-34 and the SU-100 again. All right, now for my trucks or half tracks. They're on the path and they have a path movement of 9. But it looks like they're also going to be on the road. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're spending most of their movement on the path. They would use their path movement rate. Will they still be in command range? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that would put them at a range of 11. All right, so they'll have to come up short. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now they're all spot moved. I think that's all the movement for the Germans. Now for the Soviets. All right, I have to be careful to keep these guys in command range. I'll start with these guys. Looks like I have a movement rate of 5 for everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I don't want to move them up here into the open because even if the Panzer V beats him to the top of the hill, shooting from the underside is not that great. I think the Panzer V's numbers, let's see, the Panther V, with a rising shot, they have higher numbers. So it'll be harder to hit him from below. I can't get all the way up to here. I think my best bet is going to be to move these guys to here. And for one turn, they'll be exposed to this guy's fire if he chooses to fire. These guys will be firing through brew-up smoke. But then next turn, I could get him into the rough, which provides some cover. So let's do that. 1. And I'll end the movement right there. Next turn they can use all 5 movement points to get into here. Now let me get rid of that pesky move marker. There we go. Alright, and then down here, remember that I fired my mortar, so he's not moving. Let me see if I can move him aside real quick. Okay, I moved him over to here, and I just noticed, let me show you, I'm not sure if you can see this, that there's actually a spot move indicator. So instead of using that SA counter, this thing, it actually shows the little small arms insignia in there. So that signifies spot fire, small arms. Pretty interesting. All right. So we have our trucks with infantry right here. Let me get rid of this. All right. They have a movement value on the road of 15. And of course we have the German infantry and their half tracks up here. So how best to do this? Wow. Well, they can't go through the half tracks because they would lose their road movement rate at that point, and they'd be back down to their wheeled value of 4. But I don't want to pull up right behind them either and get assaulted next turn. I'm really not sure what to do with these guys. If I have them move toward cover, it'll take them 2 turns to get here. Then they have the chance of bogging down, and then they still have to cross the open ground to get into the town where the Germans will already be. Well, I can't even use the road rate because I had to move through these guys, so I'm just down to my normal wheeled movement of 4. Well, I guess that solves that problem for me. Alright, I'm going to move them all together since nobody has an Overwatch command. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can move these guys back to here where they were. Alright, I think that completes the movement for everybody. So the next step is pivot, adjust turret, adjust full cover, no suppressions, no morale, adjust remove commands, we've already done all that, and then end turn step. So that brings us to the end of turn number 3, and when we come back we'll be starting turn number 4. See you then. Bye.